So integrated 2 angle properties review. At this point, we have finished the notes for chapter 1, therefore finishing the notes for angle properties, which is your first essential skill. So basically what I have here is a review of the kind of the majority of the stuff that I'm going to be expecting you to know. Remember that you need to know all the vocabulary from this chapter, and you need to be able to solve for a variable. But in addition to solving for a variable, you have to be able to justify. So you got to make sure that you can write the appropriate equation, make sure that you can solve the appropriate equation correctly, and that you know the vocabulary word that's associated with it. So throughout this video, if it were me, I would copy down the problems, pause the video, and then see if you can do the problems. Since we've already gone through the majority of the teaching process of this, and this is just a review, that's what I'm going to do. So I am going to go through, work them all out, and then just show you guys the answer so you can kind of check as you go. Okay, so here's the answer key for these, and then I went ahead and wrote down what that relationship actually means. So A and C are corresponding, which means that they're congruent to each other, so on and so forth. And then as a reminder, supplementary means that they're going to add up to 180 degrees. Okay, so moving on, now we just have some practice problems. So again, go ahead and pause it, see if you can solve the 3 of them, and then come back and check your answers. Okay, so here are the solutions to these 3. Keep in mind that C can be done multiple ways. I chose to slide up and then looked at the relationship between the x and the 143. It's not the only way that you can do it, but do understand that regardless of the method that you choose, x is going to be 37 degrees. You may have made multiple pit stops, which is totally fine, just as long as you can justify them. Okay, and then here are 3 final examples for this. Okay, so 2 of these, you're going to have to do a couple of things since the angles aren't necessarily right next to each other or don't have a direct relationship as they are. So with D, I think you're going to end up needing to use vertical angles at some point. So I went ahead and used it immediately, knowing that those 2 x's were going to be congruent to each other. So I color-coded in blue, that's the first thing that I did. And then knowing that the 41 and the x do make that box in the corner, which I then highlighted green to match my green work, which is complementary. Moving on to E, we know that those 2 are corresponding. They're in the same relative position to the parallel line and to the transversal, so set them equal and solve. And then with F, I decided I wanted to use triangle sum. So I took the 71 on the outside, and I used alternate interior angles, move the 71 on the inside. Then if you take a look at that triangle, I've got the x, the 71, and the 42. Go ahead and add those 3 up together and get 180 degrees. And I highly recommend doing the review worksheet that was posted.